Hello everybody and welcome to the list video here at Playing Board Games. I'm Justin, joined by Eric, and I gotta give credit where credit is due. This is an Eric list video, and Eric comes up with banger list videos. This was for Rogue Week. I was like, Eric, we should do a video on Rogue Week. What is something you want to talk about for Rogues? And Eric was like, give me 5 reasons to play the Rogue class over any other class. And I said, that's a great idea, but I'm not doing that. Instead, I think there is enough meat on that bone that we could do this for every class, which I think is super exciting. 1, because, you know, we get to talk about all the classes. 2, I get 5 videos for the price of 1, which is great. And 3, it also allows me to come up with reasons for why you should take out these classes, which is really also fun for me because Guardians and Mystics, for example, are classes I don't play a lot of. So it's like nice to go in and be like, why would I want to play these over other classes? Well,
and I know everyone says I'm not new anymore, and that's fair, but I've only played like 5 characters, 6 characters.
Yeah.
Probably 8, let's be real.
Yeah.
An unknown number. But there are classes I still haven't played, and like I have not yet played a Guardian that has felt great to play. And so I really was asking this question because as a new player, sometimes I look at different classes and I go, what does it do?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it's one of those things that even just... It's why we do the theme weeks, to kind of just like celebrate and teach and give some perspective. So this is like sometimes broad, sometimes specific for this. It's kind of just like what this class also does, it brings a selling point that's different from other classes. Mm-hmm. So let's dive in and get our first one. Do I want to do time codes for this one? No, I don't. First one we got here is they play with firearms differently than the rogue and survivor classes. Firearms are one of the ways that you commonly fight enemies in this game. The other is melee weapons. Melee generally wins out just because it's more efficient and the cards are stronger. Firearms, like spells, have limited ammo on them, so limited uses. Guardians, rogues, and survivors all have firearms, but they all play with it in different ways. And I think that while generally the rogue firearms have been more supported lately, and their rogue firearms are generally more interestingly designed, I think that the Guardian class is the most fun way to play with firearms. The reason for that is that unlike Survivor, which they don't care about their guns because their guns were just basically just ways to ensure damage or have weird like hoops you need to jump through, or the Rogue class, which cares about like the number of guns and what you can do with them, the Guardian class cares about building a super gun. So like the whole thing about the Guardian class is their idea is modifying their guns to be better. This is most easily to be seen in custom modifications, the card on the right there. A customizable card where you get attached to an asset. It has a base thing where you can reveal a different token with it. But look at all the things you can do with custom modifications to literally build your own firearm weapon.
I already love this.
So let me pass this to you, Eric. You're looking at custom modifications. Mm-hmm. Which one of these like hop out to you as something like that you would want to try on like a gun? Don't think about the gun. We don't care about that. But like you're building a gun. What piques your interest?
So as a vegan, this is going to be so ironic, but the custom leather grip.
Yeah.
Makes me so pleased.
Yeah.
The moment in any video game they're like, oh yeah, you're a generic whatever, blah 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 blah, but we're gonna let you modify the color of the leather on your weapon. Yeah. I'm like, this sword is mine now. It's got my name on it. Yeah. And so I see that, I'm just like, okay, this is too good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love notched sight.
Yep.
That's also such a flavor win to me and such a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's a single thing on this that I don't want to take.
Yes, and
I feel like Quicksilver Bullets is the obvious best one, but I love leather grip.
Yeah.
I love leather grip.
Also as well, like both Counterbalance and Extended Magazine kind of actually give like 2 different build paths you can follow while also supporting each other, because we see over there Custom Ammunition, the card second from the left. It's an event that You attach it to a firearm asset, place 2 ammo on that asset. So now if you have counterbalance or extended magazine, you're either drawing a card or placing an extra ammo. That also works well for extra ammunition, although also works really well for the event card 1 in the chamber, which also puts ammo on stuff. And then, yeah, there's quicksilver bullets, which just gives more damage. There's extended stocks, which makes your guns just generally better, right? There's also a card I've included here called Well Maintained, where when one of your firearms, or sorry, one of your items leave play, you get to return all of those cards to your hand, like all the attached cards to it, because the card is well maintained. And like that is kind of like some cool combo stuff that is unique to the high experience part of the Guardian class. Because if you're trying to find out what you do in a class and what's different, you have to look at their 3, 4, and 5 experience cards, or with the customizable cards, how they would look with 10 experience on them.
Could I have put this? Could I use this on the Shotcaster? No, it's not a firearm, I don't think.
No, I do not believe it's a firearm.
That's too bad.
I actually don't know what that is.
Because that would be the weirdest custom gun. And it would make me so happy.
It also doesn't have ammo.
Oh,
it uses
that's
it uses
right.
the special things. It is a firearm, though.
So you could use it for extended stock.
Yeah, the extended stock, yeah.
Yeah.
You could give it quicksilver bullets.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't give it extended magazine. You could give it leather grip because that only affects the custom modifications. Mm-hmm. And you also could do the counterbalance as well. So you can kind of like upgrade that.
So that's fascinating.
Which is actually notable. Well, I'll get out the card Well Maintained for... Get back in there, Joe. The card Well Maintained for reference. I'm going to just pull out the binder and I'll read that for people here. But yeah, you could do that kind of stuff with... It's a 1 experience card? Yeah. So attached to an item as you control, after attached asset is discarded, return it to its owner's hand along with each other upgrade that was attached to it. That could be nice for the hyperphysical Shotcaster as an example, because then you have a way to reload it, because it doesn't have ways to easily reload the card.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so... And this is something that is, I said earlier, is very unique to the Guardian class. Anything else, or should I move on to the next one?
No, I love this already, though.
All right. Their allies are some of the best in the game and have great build-arounds. So while I was going through this, I actually didn't even include every great ally in here, but these were just while I was scrolling through, 8 banger allies in the Guardian class that are all very powerful and all actually kind of have a very similar sort of thing to them, where they have a once per turn powerful exhaust effect. So it's kind of like that's kind of part of the whole Guardian thing. You can just see that their allies are all powerful, and they all have an effect that is really good when you exhaust them. So Gurish Kadakia soaks for 3 and 3. He can take damage for other people. You also can, when an investigator is performing an investigation, you exhaust Gurish, or sorry, performing an action, a test. You can exhaust Gurish, give them +2 skill value, and if it's ready, you get to heal a damage or horror from Gurish. So he's like unlimited on unexpected courages while also soaking like a boss. Field Agent and B-Cop are very similar. You can exhaust them and deal them a horror or a damage to either discover a clue or deal damage to an enemy. Alice Luxley gives you +1 book passively, and after you discover a clue, you can exhaust her to deal damage to an enemy or location. Greta Wagner, down there, she gives you 2 stats. After you defeat an enemy, exhaust her and deal a damage to her, discover a clue, your location, or connected location. She's the inverse Alice Luxley. Guard Dog can cause enemies to attack him, and he deals damage to other people. There's also level 0 Guard Dog, as we know. He also can just take damage for you and deal damage back. Michael Lee, who you're playing with in Joe Diamond, he turns investigate actions into vicious blows. Mm-hmm. Nethys she's blessed focus and turns blessed tokens into damage. These are all very powerful allies. And I know you might be thinking, don't all classes have powerful allies? Yes. But if you think about it, outside of the rogue class, most of these investigators' allies that you end up playing usually live around level 0, right? Yeah. Guardians actually have allies that you want to put their XP into, but they also have cards that you can take advantage of them. This is in the form of some of the cards here as well as many more. Trusted, where you can just give your allies more health and sanity, which means you have more uses of their abilities in the form of Field Agent and B-Cop. The Star, which also gives each asset you control +1 health and +1 sanity. There's also the Soothing Melody, which is part of the Hallowed Mirror, which can be used to be healed from ally damage or horror from ally assets. So there is a build that is unique to the Guardian class called the Rube Goldberg Machine, where you just have a bunch of allies in play and like they trigger off each other, right? So it's like one of those things where like you can use Beat Cop to like ping an enemy. you can defeat that enemy with that damage to exhaust Greta Wagner and then discover a clue. Likewise, you can discover a clue, like let's just say, for example, Working Hunch, use Alice Luxley, ping an enemy, use Beat Cop, ping that enemy, use Greta Wagner when that enemy's dead to discover a clue, right?
Yeah,
so,
and
like,
Field Agent could also trigger off of Alex Luxley.
Yeah,
Could
exactly.
trigger Alex Luxley. Yeah, I see it.
So it's like this, like, you can build this weird ass freaking machine of allies that are just like doing the job for you.
Like an actual investigative team.
There's parallel Roland Banks, who can start with a charisma, like can start with extra ally slots, and you can do a build with that. There's also one that I haven't included here, and I realized after that they would have. I don't think they're good, but they're very fun. They are called Agency Backup.
Oh no!
Right here, 7 cost, soaks for 4 and 4. They can soak for other people, and they also have the 2 Beat Cop and Field Agent text on them.
I do kind of love them, even if they're not good.
Yeah. The only thing is because they're just so expensive, but you can do gross things with them. And like all these things coming together to showcase like this ally synergy that Guardian is very capable of taking advantage of.
Wild. I'm also seeing a lightning gun, which
Yes.
I did not know existed.
It's a firearm. You can put your custom modifications on it.
My leather grip.
Of my lightning gun. Number 3, they provide a great tank experience with a bit of Thorns build to enhance it. I spelled build wrong. Don't worry about that.
Wasn't going to say anything until you did.
Bold. So Guardians and Survivors are the tanking class, but it mostly exists in the Guardian class. Like, Survivor tanks to do things, Guardians tank to tank. Like, they're just like the tank class. So this means that they're very good at like stopping people from taking damage because they're taking most of it themselves, but they also can just change things up and play the Thorns build, which is named for the bottom ability on the Hunter's Armor customizable card, where it's after 1 or more damage or horror is assigned to Hunter's Armor from an enemy attack, you may exhaust it to deal 1 damage to that enemy. Couple that with Guard Dog, which also kind of always had Thorns, so this has always been an identity that has existed in the Guardian class. And Guard Dog can also kind of showcase that. This is also then seen by Survival Knife, which after an enemy attack deals damage during the enemy phase, you exhaust it to then fight back. So this is also something that the Guardian class can do that is uniquely theirs compared to any other class. So if you like the idea of being a tank with a giant pool of health, go for it. Guardian is the one to do that, and you can just start like poking people back when they're dealing damage to you. And as you can see, like custom modifications, Hunter's Armor has a lot of different ways that you can go. Like you can just make it tankier for you. You can also do the protective runes. That's something that Guardians has that we're going to be talking about in the next slide. But like this is all the stuff that really supports this Thorn build that is very unique to the Guardian class.
Yeah, I could see doing an entire build around Hunter's Armor where the goal is just to slot 10 XP into it right away. Mm-hmm. So you do Enchanted. If you need to, even. You'd have 2 Hunter's Armor.
Put 2 into play, yeah.
Yeah, to put 2 into play. Because you have to buy them each separately, right?
No. So the thing about experience cards is that they, with customizable cards, is it's shared, right?
Yeah.
So like if you upgrade one, you're upgrading both because you're upgrading the upgrade card, not the card themselves.
Then yeah, you take Enchanted, you have 2 of them. Mm-hmm. You're just wearing it all times. You take Durable and Hallowed, and then you also have enough left for Thorns and Lightweight or Thorns and Protective Rune.
Yeah. Or even like Hex Drinker if you want to be like Treachery support, which we're about to get to as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild. That would be an entirely fun class to play. Just immediately Castlevania from Super Nintendo era music is playing in my head.
I want them to also, with that said, we need a whip weapon. We need a whip. Every game eventually gets a whip. We need a whip in this one.
We do need a whip.
You always need, even if they mostly suck, because if someone tried to fight me with a whip, they'd probably get me, but I'd just stab them, right? But, you know?
Yeah.
It's still, you got to be able to fight with a whip.
It's true.
All right, number 4. No one can support like a Guardian can support. They are the support class. There are other classes that can support, but Guardian does it better than anybody else. So if you like the idea of supporting, this is a great way to go. Notably with Eric and I play, you can't really support in 2-player. It's just the nature of it. But if you're playing 3 or 4 players, a Guardian support goes harder than anyone else. This is shown by the poster boy underneath us, Carson Sinclair. Literally the investigator that you need to play other people with. So he's like literally designed to be pure support. This has kind of been like a little thing that has been a little bit sticking point with the Guardian class. A lot of people think the Guardian class is weak. The Guardian class is not weak. I've said this in a recent video where they've just gotten cards that are just too fair. Their cards are powerful, but like every other class has like a Guardian effect, but it also says like draw a card on it. Guardians' like identity from the beginning is that they weren't great at card draw, and like White in Magic the Gathering, over time that causes issues, right? So then eventually we're starting to see some card draw in the Guardian class, and it's very nice because of that. But as you can see from here, I found a lot of support cards that work for it. Some of this support is tanking in the forms of Solemn Vow and Tetsuo Mori. Tetsuo Mori can also find items for people. Martyr's Vambrace, you can actually take encounter cards from people.
That's so good.
And also you get +1 to all revelation abilities on encounter cards. So treacheries just become easier for you. Bestow Resolves, it allows you to commit a card, and then all of the icons on it become wilds. So you can like become this like super supporter from the distance as well, because you can also do other connecting locations. Get Behind Me is one of the only ways that we have to just actionlessly deal with an enemy outside of turn that is engaged with somebody else. There's a few other ways in experience levels, but this is just like, say you as the Seeker drew an enemy, and I'm like, don't worry, get behind me. You take an attack of opportunity, that enemy fights me instead, and I engage it as well. It's like, it's a very powerful thing that's unique to the Guardian. First Watch, you draw the encounter cards and you choose how to divvy them out. You can't give more than one to other players, but you as the Guardian, with your Hex Drinker on Armor of Thorns, for example, on Hunter's Armor, you can take those cards for yourself and you can draw as many as you want. Also works really well with Martyr's Vambrace. Task Force, 2 actions, but then you get to give out 3 actions as you see about people at your location. Stand Together. You and another investigator draw 2 cards, gain 2 resources. Leadership, commit to another person, you get Wild, Brain Wild if it's committed to another former investigator. If it's successful, you and that investigator each gain 2 resources. These are a lot of very powerful effects that the Guardian can take advantage of to just be the super duper support.
What I find interesting too, and I don't know if you did this intentionally, and if you didn't, it's even better points to the Guardian class, is that you have an equal number of experienced cards and non-experienced cards up here. So the support builds are obviously very functional from level 0 all the way into experience.
Yeah, and then also some of them like Stand Together have level 0 versions as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it's very like, it's kind of just like part of the class from beginning to end at this point now. Last thing here for why you should play the Guardian class is they are still the most consistent damage dealers in the game. Even though everyone is looking down on the Guardians and saying they are poo-poo, they still fight like nobody else. Like, rogues can fight. Seekers can fight. Mystics can fight. Survivors can fight. They all can fight. But Guardians are the most consistent, without question. Like, if I had to, like, who was the best class of fighting? Guardians. Still. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They are very, very good at it. And this is amped up by their investigators, like Nat Cho, who is just an insane damage dealer with events, or just Mark Harrigan, or just like Leo Anderson. You just get someone to fight with. What are you looking at?
I'm just reading Blackjack. That's an insane card.
Yes, so actually a lot of the builds you actually will see will run Blackjack and Machete. You don't care where the enemy is, it's dying.
Yeah.
Right? You're just like going for it.
That's crazy. And the fact that it deals no damage if you fail.
Yes.
Unbelievable strong.
Yeah. Survivors also just got Blessed Blade in the Hemlock Vale expansion last year. I was going to say the latest expansion, and it kind of still is. But that is also just like a very efficient melee weapon. There's a big thing that I was talking about earlier with the firearms, how Rogue is now kind of the firearm class. And it's just because they've got a more firearm support. But Guardians, they're getting powerful melee tools. I haven't even included the Cyclopean Hammer here, which is a broken card. But like, they have the ways to deal damage. I am not surprised. So in every Guardian, every theme week, Guardian, Seeker, and Rogue so far, Travis Byrne and I did a challenge where we play one of the starting scenarios and we get random investigators and random rolls with each class. Guardian has been the only class that has done a full clear. because you need to kill a bunch of enemies in that scenario, and it's just a good way to test your decks. And it's because Guardians are just so consistent at dealing damage. So whether you are a Johnny that wants to try something funky, you want to build a weird custom modifications deck, whether you're a Timmy who just wants to like play a big weapon, your lightning gun, and shoot things down, or you're a Spike and you just want to like efficiently win the game, Guardians will still be the best at doing damage across the board for all those things, I think. Wow. Yeah. So think about that the next time you're poo-pooing a Guardian and you're saying like Guardian class sucks. Just remember who's saving your ass when you draw that enemy. It's going to be that Guardian with his brand of Cthulhu. Just a fire sword is going to come out of his hand. He's going to slice the guy twain. And then he's going to save the day.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And yes, I'm going to hype up the other classes too when we do this for the other ones. But I think that each class has reasons to play them. The reason why this game is fun is because you can also express yourself through the investigator you're playing and the class that they exist in. And I think the Guardian class, even though the reason why they're not one of my favorites is because they're fair. And I don't like fair for my own personal preference, right? But there's still a lot of powerful things that the Guardian class can do and a lot of fun things. And that's why I had fun making these slides. So thanks for the idea.
No, happy to. I love this. I have an entire brainchild now around playing a Belmont.
Yes, yeah.
Where I just want to take armor. I just want to have a couple of good weapons.
What if I told you there was a Holy Rosary that gives you +1 brain, and if you succeed a test on a treachery with brain, you could add 2 bless tokens in the bag.
See, this is perfect.
What if I told you there's not holy water, but there's stuff that's like it?
There's stuff like
you could build a Belmont for sure.
I want to build a Belmont now.
And I mean that's also like why, because like to echo what you were saying earlier, I also, contrary to what people watching say, I also view you as a new player still, right? Because the game is big.
It's huge.
I didn't consider myself to be good at ARKHAM until I was playing it for 5 years. So like it's one of those things that like I have high standards as well for like what a new and experienced player is. But also I like doing these videos with you because it allows you to be like cooking up deck ideas. So next time you can be like, I want to build a Belmont. You know, like
I'm building Belmont.
Yeah, I think that is a really fun thing to do with these. So get ready for more of these in the future. They'll be peppered out occasionally as in our list video rotation. But thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good one. And as always, whip it good. Grab that whip. And then Dracula's like, what a man but a miserable pile of secrets. And then Devo's like, what the fuck? It's Dracula.